Every great civilization tells itself the same comforting lie, that this time, it's different, that our money is sound, our institutions are strong, and that collapse, well, collapse is something that happens to other people, in other places, a long, long time ago. We look at our bank accounts, our retirement funds, our national currency, and we see something solid, something permanent. But what if I told you that what we're looking at isn't a foundation, but a fragile agreement, a story we all agree to believe in? History, however, is a patient and often merciless storyteller. It doesn't care for our comforting lies. It tells a different story, one that echoes through the ages, from the dusty marketplaces of ancient Rome to the frantic trading floors of today. It's the story of how money is born, how it lives, and how, inevitably, it dies. Let's travel back in time. Picture the Roman Empire at its zenith. The silver denarius is the dollar of its day. Trusted, stable, accepted everywhere. It's the bedrock of a global economy. But empires are expensive. Wars need funding, monuments need building, and the people need their bread and circuses. So the emperors start to get clever. They start shaving a little bit of silver from each coin, mixing it with cheaper metals like copper. At first no one notices. The coin looks the same, feels the same, but with each new emperor the amount of silver shrinks. Nero, Trajan, Marcus Aurelius, each one debased the currency a little more to cover their debts. What were they doing? They were printing money, Roman style. They were buying a few more years of military campaigns, a few more years of lavish spending. But what they were really buying was centuries of distrust. Soon people realized their savings were melting away. A denarius that once contained nearly pure silver now held less than 5%. Prices soared. A soldier's pay, once enough to support a family, became worthless. The economic glue holding the empire together dissolved. When the faith in the denarius died, it took a piece of Rome with it. It wasn't just a financial crisis, it was a crisis of trust. Now let's fast forward over 1,000 years. We're in Constantinople, the heart of the mighty Byzantine Empire. They learned from Rome's mistakes, right? They created the solidus, a gold coin so pure and stable that it became the international standard for nearly 7 centuries. The dollar of the Middle Ages. It was the ultimate symbol of enduring value. But history has a funny way of rhyming. Faced with endless wars and dwindling resources, the emperors started to debase the solidus too. Slowly at first, then faster. The gold content dropped, and with it the empire's prestige and economic power. The unbreakable coin was broken. The lesson: even gold isn't immune when governments are desperate. You might think, okay, that's ancient history. We're smarter now. We have central banks, complex financial systems. Let's jump to 18th century France. The revolution has overthrown the king, and the new government is full of bright ideas. They need to fund their new republic, but the treasury is empty. Their solution? The assignat, a new kind of paper money theoretically backed by confiscated church lands. It was a bold experiment. At first, it worked. The economy hummed along. But the temptation was too great. Whenever they needed more money, they just fired up the printing presses. Soon the country was drowning in paper. A loaf of bread that cost a few assignats one day cost a few hundred the next, and a few thousand the day after that. People's life savings evaporated into thin air. It wasn't just wealth that was destroyed, it was faith. Faith in the government, faith in the currency, faith in the future itself. The chaos that followed proved that printing your way to prosperity is a fantasy. It doesn't create wealth, it just redistributes it violently and unfairly until there's nothing left. And lest you think this is still just a history lesson, let's bring it to our own lifetime. Let's go to Lebanon, 2019. For decades, the Lebanese lira was pegged to the US dollar. People trusted the banks. They put their life savings, their dreams, their children's futures into their accounts. They saw the numbers on the screen and believed they were real. Then overnight, the system froze. The government had run out of money. The banks locked their doors. The savings that people had worked their entire lives for were trapped, their value plummeting by over 90%. It wasn't an anomaly. It wasn't a black swan event. It was history repeating itself, with digital ledgers instead of silver coins. The promise was broken, the agreement was void. So what's the common thread here? From the denarius to the assignat to the lira, the pattern is identical. It's not about fate, it's about human nature. Governments, whether they are empires, republics, or modern democracies, will always be tempted to create money out of thin air to solve their immediate problems. They promise prosperity and postpone pain. And we, as societies addicted to comfort and stability, choose to believe them. We choose the illusion of stability over the harshness of reality until the illusion itself becomes worthless. We look at our bank balances, our pensions, our 401ks, and we mistake them for solid foundations. But money is not a foundation. It is an agreement. It's a collective belief system, a fragile consensus that survives only as long as people believe it will. When that belief dies, the numbers on the screen become meaningless. So the critical question is this: what endures when that belief shatters? What has value when the currency fails? It's not the paper notes, it's not the digital digits. What endures are the real things: skills, the ability to build, to fix, to grow, to teach, land, tangible assets you can touch, and most importantly, awareness. The awareness to see the fragility before it cracks. The discipline to convert the illusion of money into something real before the rest of the crowd starts to panic. This isn't about predicting the end of the world. It's about understanding the world as it is. Financial history is not just a story about markets and currencies. It's a fundamental story about trust, how it's built, how it's betrayed, and how every single generation must relearn what gives it value. The cycle of boom, debasement, and bust has never stopped. It's a constant feature of civilization. But here's the hopeful part. Those who study this cycle, those who understand it, are the ones who can navigate it. They are the ones who can protect themselves and their families. By understanding the past, we can better prepare for the future, not with fear, but with wisdom. Because while currencies may die, knowledge and preparedness are assets that never lose their value. The story of money is the story of ourselves. It reflects our greatest ambitions and our deepest flaws. By learning its lessons, we don't just become better investors. We gain a clearer view of the world and our place in it. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey through history. If this gave you a new perspective, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel for more content that challenges the way we see the world. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious and stay aware.